out there is really a testament to the success of the IB in particular, not to discount the AP, but to say that the IB has a broader impact on the county. I wanted to note that for the IB, you do have to have that language component, Spanish, French, or Chinese being the 3 languages. And so in terms of looking at our feeder capacity, we need to make sure that those 3 languages are coming through in sufficient quantity and that they're available to kids so that kids, again, feel like they have that opportunity to go into the IB well prepared because they've got the language availability at their elementary and middle schools.
Did you want to speak to that issue?
Let me just real quick follow up with, I do have sort of one final thing, which is I'm really delighted to hear that we have a plan in place for how we're eventually envisioning this as a rollout. So I would really look forward to seeing that in writing. Maybe if you could provide that to the board midsummer. I'd love to have that full scope. In particular, as we're looking at language mesh with this, as we're beginning to look at the strategic planning committee about the foreign language, we want to make sure those do mesh. So having both plans in writing about here's the IB rollout, here's where we're going to provide the language articulation, and here's how it meshes together. I think that would be very helpful. And then just as a follow-up to staff, in terms of when we're talking about eliminating boutique programs, can we be specific about what those programs are for the board?
Well, let me see if I can answer your questions right now. You won't. We're trying to work in concert with the budget and capacity, and we don't have anything that even comes close to making everything mesh right now. And we're just now embarking with the Strategic Planning Committee on how to deal with the languages. And you're going to help us as we are trying to develop this overall plan with the IB. We do have an idea that we need a certain density of them everywhere, and I think you can see that on the map. We are behind, and as Dr. Daka pointed out, up county. And we've kind of got a chicken and egg here problem. If you, on the Strategic Planning Committee, will work with us on the language to try to figure that out, then we can then further develop how to do the IB program. We've already figured out that the AP program has to be everywhere. And so we're kind of working in concert with each other. So as we get through with as you get through with the strategic planning on the language, that will help us identify how to deal with the 11 language problem. That's what I'm talking about when I don't really mean boutique in a negative sense. I mean scalability is what Mrs. Navarro talked about. You got to have volume. And we have got to figure out how to do volume well with quality in a few things that spread over access for everybody. And so we'll be working in concert with your strategic planning committee, and that will be the first kind of, these are not these are process questions. That will be the first thing we can see how you come out, and then how you come out, then we can drive the implementation of the program. Both of those will be depending on capacity and money. As we get into 11 and 12, you know how difficult that's going to be.
Why don't we let this conversation go, since there was a lot of interest, maybe for another 10 or 15 more minutes, and then we'll just move our break back. So I wanted to see if there was anything you wanted to say in response to the questions with you, Matt.
I was just going to talk about the language question. And I think it is a concern at Eastern just because of the way the schedule's fallen out. I don't see it as an issue across the system per se, in that middle schools offer foreign language. And so there is an opportunity to take Spanish or French, primarily in some schools Chinese, to prepare kids for the IB program. So I do believe we have a systematic opportunity for students to take at least Spanish in all of our middle schools that would help prepare them for the IB program.
Mr. Kaufman? Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to jump in, Mr.
I was just going to add that the IB requires also foreign language at the elementary level, and part of the additional money is the funding for College Gardens is extra staffing so they can offer foreign language at 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade.
Thank you.
In terms of curriculum, there's a reference in the memo that the AP/IB course curriculums are back-mapped to the lower grade curriculum. What is the status of that? I mean, is that a work in progress? I mean, is that 99% complete? Is that 20% complete? Does that go all the way down to the elementary? I mean, where are we on this back-mapping effort?
Curriculum's always a work in progress. But the back mapping we started with AP was when we started with the curriculum revision in 2000. So when we went through the significant curriculum revision from 2000 to the present, we first looked at international standards like IB, and we looked at national standards like AP, and we back mapped in the core content areas what were the skills and processes and contents that students need to know and be able to do at each grade level, and move that back into all of our curriculum. So I'll give you an example that I'm familiar with in social studies. A lot of the AP courses focus on what's called a document-based question, a DBQ. It requires students to take information from multiple sources and marshal it